Anne's going to share with you today what I think.
Welcome to Zoom. How many of you actually use Zoom at the moment? Quite a few do. Okay. It's one of these things that you can practice on, and nobody can see you.
No, can't hear you.
Sorry. And no one can see you in a room. Is that better? I'll shout a bit more. I'm not very confident in speaking and being and doing Zoom because it's got the video, and I don't like people looking at me. I'm sort of like this. But you know, I practice on it and nobody can actually see me, so, which is great, and I'll show you how. So if you're not using Zoom at the moment, go on to zoom.us and download it. It's free. It is the only training facility that is free that I know of, that you can have quite a few people, I think it's up to 100 in the room. So that's looking at people like yourselves. You can join a meeting, you can host a meeting, and when you sign up, you're allocated a meeting room. So when we booked the hotel here, Howard booked the hotel, he got the Tudor room. You get allocated an ID for your room, and it is your training room only. So what is Zoom? I'm going to stand here because it's easier. It's interactive, it's training. You can do meetings, you can do conferences, you can do one-to-one, you can do one-to-many, doesn't matter how many people. But it's like using WhatsApp, it's like using Skype, it's like using TeamViewer and any other meeting orientated software, and you don't have to pay for it. So I know a lot of people like WhatsApp, so you can talk to one-to-one, but what happens if you've got more than one person to talk to? Skype is good, you can do a couple, but you know the flexibility of Zoom, and I don't think anybody's hooked into how flexible this can be. It enables you to keep up with, as Howard said, to keep up with your team worldwide. We're going to Spain tomorrow. We do webinars every week for our team. When we first started and joined Avon and we started building a team, we did a webinar every Tuesday, and without fail we still do that even though we're not in this country. So when we go to Spain and I see my mum and dad, every Tuesday we're still on Zoom. And with the groups getting bigger, it's difficult if they live in Scotland to go up and support them. But with Zoom you can. You can show your screen, they can show you their screen. You can use a whiteboard, you can use a PowerPoint, so if we was doing training here, they could see every single slide using Zoom. So you can do lots of training. You can show them websites. You can actually show your screen and their screen at the same time, so that if you're talking them through something, you can see exactly that they're following you. Because, let's face it, team building is all about duplication. And if you're showing your screen and their screen, you're duplicating and they're duplicating what you're doing. So this is the starting off. You can join a meeting and host a meeting. Now everybody's will be different. Okay, everybody's screen will look slightly different, but the icons they see, whether they join or not, will always look like this. Okay? And the beauty is you don't have to have a laptop for it. If somebody's sitting there with an iPad or a tablet or a phone, you can still hook in to the Zoom meeting. So we're going to talk about join a meeting. All they need to do is click on that and put the ID in. Our ID remains the same, so anybody can hook into our meeting. We don't change it, but you can if you want to. You can have a meeting ID for your reps, a meeting ID for your sales leaders, and a meeting ID for all of them, so that every week you're doing some form of training. So you're doing the recognition on the first week of the campaign, sales leaders, helping them with their goals, the second week of the campaign, and reps the third week to make sure that they're not just, they've got their saved orders, they know what's going on, they're making sure that they're going to hit their bonuses all the time. If you're hosting a meeting, you've got the option to schedule it. If you're running a meeting every single day, every single week, schedule it. But the settings are important, because how you schedule that depends on the impact that your attendees, your team sees. So we're going to have a look at how to schedule a meeting. It looks quite complicated, but actually it's very easy. It's just a couple of clicking of buttons. The first thing to do is to set your title. Because let's face it, if you're going to a meeting or you're going to a training and it's going to tell you about how to improve your retail, you're going to be there? Of course you are. If you're going to say what you're having for dinner, nobody's going to go there because they're probably not interested. So your title is supposed to be capturing and making sure that the attendees will always be there. Is it reoccurring? If it's reoccurring, it's one setting and then you've got it. It's there all the time, and the reoccurring will not only flag up to you half an hour to go, don't forget you've got a meeting, it will also flag up to everybody who's been invited to that meeting, don't forget you're attending a meeting. Just like you do with your calendars and reminders. This is quite important, this one. It's amazing that when we say to our team that we're not going to have the video on, we get more attendees. So you can turn their videos off as they come into the room, so they don't see themselves and others in the team. And that's quite important. That's how our business has grown so much, is because we turn the videos off for them. Especially as we've got some families, some team members who've got children, they're tired, they go to bed, the last thing they want is to have a video of them in their PJs, you know? So that's why we turn them off, turn the videos off. They don't have to then worry, oh my goodness, they can see me, what button do I click? There's meeting options, and these are really key. So I've got another slide to show you the meeting options. So the first one is, do you require a password? Be careful when using passwords, because they have to be case sensitive. So if they type it in wrong, they'll get frustrated, then they're going to be put off using that particular software to do training again. So I don't have passwords on our teams, on our training. Sorry, go back again. Enable to join before the host. Now, put yourself in this situation, all right? Howard's setting up, and everybody's helping him set up on all of this. And you've got, how many people here? About 150? All coming in the door at the same time, and you're trying to set up. How would that fit? How would you feel? So therefore, don't let anybody join before you are ready with your setup. If you're showing a PowerPoint, have you got it open? Do you know which one it is? Mute participants on entry. Always tick this box. The last thing you want in a team when you're doing training is to have the dog barking on one, to have a baby crying in the background. These things happen, it's family life, but not everybody in the team wants to hear it. And the other reason I recommend videos off is we've had one team member who turns it on, and then you can see him cooking his dinner in the background. Yeah. And at one place we had a lady who was feeding her baby. You know, these are things. I've actually had one that took their video phone into the toilet. Seriously, that's when I turn everybody's videos off. It just makes it easier. Especially for me, when you get that face, because they can see me a horrified look. Okay, so where are we? You can also record the meetings free of charge, and it will go onto your computer. Now you have to have a laptop to do that, and it will go onto your computer. It's courtesy to tell everybody they're being recorded. That's another reason we turn the videos off. Alright, but it's good to play back and see, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that point, I'll add that to next week's training. And then last but not least, you can send an email out to everybody. So it goes to your, we use Google Gmail, so it goes out there. When you're in the meeting, you get a control panel, and the control panel is really easy to use. So you can invite a meeting, you can invite people immediately to your meeting. Send the email out there and then. This is great if we're having a guest speaker, because I send it out and then I can see them waiting in the room to come in. So you can have guest speakers. You can also make the guest the host, so they can show their screen and show their slides, just the same as we've got here. You can show how many's in the room, and you'll notice there's only one in the room. That's me. So I'm practicing all of this. Nobody can see me because it's just me. So I can make a complete hash of the training, but nobody's in the room other than me. So you can practice this until you're comfortable in using it, and that's how we have built the business. Now you'll find the settings are the same, but with the participants, if you've forgotten to do things, you can do it here. So you can, as it says, mute participants on entry. I cannot recommend that enough. You can allow participants to unmute themselves. It's ticked here. I always untick it. I don't allow any of my team to unmute themselves, because then they start talking over you, and then they go, oh, Jackie's on. I'll just unmute and talk to Jackie, and then you get this cross. And if you unmute all of them, you'll get feedback. Doesn't matter where they are, you will get feedback. So I never allow them to unmute themselves. You can put the attendees in a waiting room. You know, like I said, until you're ready, have them in a waiting room. It makes life so much easier. And for those people that think, oh my goodness, it's half an hour, and they've already gone, well, I'll just go at the last 5 minutes, you can lock the meeting room and not allow them in. And then put on Facebook, in your team group, boy, that was a fantastic webinar. That was a fantastic training, and they go, but I couldn't get in because I locked the room. So make sure you get there early. Okay? So in the waiting room, what will happen is that you will get a message saying, and this is hubby, so I think, do I let him in?
No, he never does.
You can admit them as they come in. So then you know how many people are coming in, who they are, and who's early, and who's a little bit late. So there you go. So a waiting room is good, because if you leave them in there until they're ready, or click on participants and it tells you who's coming in, you can just go, yep, accept them all. Now the reason that we have everybody muted is because I force them to put their hand up. If they've got a question, it comes up, they've raised their hands. Just the same as you would here. If you've got a question, you raise your hand, and then you can unmute them, ask the question, you can get the answer. Is that okay? Yes, that's fine. Then mute them again. And then let somebody else raise their hand. Because it stops that feedback, it stops that whistling sound, and it stops people from over talking each other. Now you can share a screen, but you can only share a screen if you've got, yeah, no, you can share a screen. That's fine. I was just trying to think. But you can share a screen on a computer. If you're doing it from a laptop, you can share your screen. If you're doing it from a phone, you can share your screen. If you're doing it from a tablet, you can share your screen. It's multi. But you can share your screen. You can have a whiteboard where you can type, highlight things. You can even share your phone by hooking it into the USB on a computer. So you're showing how to do ordering, accepting orders, placing orders, payments on the phone to show your team. How many people say to me, well, it's not the same on a laptop, so how can I do it? And you're talking them through how to place an order, but actually it's different on a phone. But then you can show that in your training. Nobody can see anything until you hit this very good button here. So when you're talking, remember that you've hit that button. If you don't, you're talking away about the screen they can see and they can't see anything. So that's an important one. If you need to go and find something, put your sharing on pause. Their screen is locked, that's all they can see. You're going into different files to open them up, ready for it to find the answer, and then you can carry on. They can't see any of that. Or you can do a new share. So this is what I'm going to show you. Pause it, new share, put it onto the Avon website and show them how to put orders in, etc. But the screen will tell you that you're on share, that you're on pause. And you can annotate. I love this. I scroll all over now mine. Now I think it was Amanda or somebody was talking about the downloads at the bottom and highlighted it in circle. Well, that's what you can do here. You can draw it, highlight it, or use the spotlight on it and then pull it up and show them. So how many of you understand every single report that Avon gives you? How many of your sales leaders understand every report? But you can show it, you can go through it and explain the columns and what they're doing. So just a quick one then, just to recap, points to remember. Your settings stay the same unless you change them. Always put people in the waiting room. It builds up anticipation as well. Wonder what we're going to see. Always mute on entry to avoid feedback and background noises. Your meeting ID remains the same unless you change it. Your screen control panel is different to attendees. So if you're training somebody how to use Zoom, just remember they're not seeing the same as you. And practice, practice, practice. Practice on your own, in a room, in a room on Zoom. Nobody can see you until you invite somebody. All those control panels are there for you to, I wonder what that does. That's how I know. You can click on anything, it doesn't affect it because only you can see it. So I hope that helps everybody. Yeah.
Can I just ask?